Nuggets give the Oklahoma City Thunder their first loss of the season, 124-122. The Nuggets, at their start of the season, 0-2, 5-1 in their last 6 games. And this was the first one, I feel like. You could sense it for this Nuggets team if you've been watching, right? Yeah, it did suck. Even in their wins, overtime wins against the Nets, overtime win against the Raptors, close to the wire win against the Raptors, like wins where you're just like, okay, if we want to be a championship contending team, we probably should be blowing these teams out or winning a little bit more comfortably than this. But if you watch the games, you could start to see some things sort of tick up a little bit, right? You could start to see some things trend more towards a positive direction with how some of their guys off the bench are playing, how Christian Braun has been playing to start this season, Russell Westbrook's minutes and how he's been playing to start this season, Julian Strawther, Hunter Tyson, and what he's done defensively to start this season. And, you could feel a little bit better about it. And then it all kind of, accumulates. No Maria Gordon, by the way. Yeah, and that makes it a little bit more impressive for this Nuggets team. No Aaron Gordon, what's the timeline with him? He's going to miss culminates. He's gonna miss a handful of games, right? Is what it sounds like. 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, that one hurts. That one definitely stings. So yeah, the Nuggets dealing with some injuries. 2 very key rotation players. Aaron Gordon, who's very important for them, and Jamal Murray, who's missed his second or third game in a row that Jamal Murray has missed. And you still win against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Jokic was phenomenal last night. Jokic has been the best player in the league to start this season. 23 points, 20 rebounds, 16 assists, 9 of 20 from the field. He's been great to start this season, and he was phenomenal last night. Russell Westbrook, 29 points, 10 of 15. He was a minus 14. Does that mean anything? I really don't think so in a one-game thing. I think Russ has played really well so far to start this season, honestly. I think defensively he's given them some effort that they've desperately needed. He plays with some pace that I think they need from time to time. And sure, his fit can be a little bit wonky. And he's going to have moments that look pretty rough. But I think he's played pretty well so far. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for how he's played. Christian Braun really is, in a lot of ways, the story of this season. The first 8 games of the season for the Nuggets is Christian Braun. 24 points last night, 7 of 14, 4 of 8 from 3, knocking down threes. He's been so good. He's played great defensively so far to start this season. He did a tremendous job last night defensively. And offensively, he plays with pace that's good. When he gets downhill, he can finish around the rim, above the rim. And it's really about the 3 ball. And he went 4 of 8 from 3 last night. Like, he does all of the other things so well. He's fit into that starting 5 like a glove. It's really just about finding finding somebody else in this rotation who can help you out so that you're not getting murdered in non-Jokic minutes. Julian Strawther, 9 points last night, 6 assists. I thought he played pretty well. Yeah, the Christian Braun poster on Gobert is just nuts. That was fun. That was a crazy-ass dunk. If they hold on and win that game against the Timberwolves, they're 6-2. It is kind of crazy how up in arms we were about the Nuggets. And they could very easily be 6-2. But also they could also be, 4-5. Or 4 and I'm bad at math. 4-4, or even 3-5. I mean, both of those overtime wins that they had, they were very lucky to win. Just a weird start to the season for the Nuggets. Peyton Watson had a crazy play to close out the game where he smoked 2 free throws, which gave the Thunder a chance to either tie or win the game. But he then made a incredible defensive stand at the end of the game on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who I guess let's talk about him. The Thunder, 7-1, their first loss of the season. Now, we're sort of monitoring this. I've been monitoring this. Their defense has been otherworldly. And last night, the Nuggets got to them a little bit. 42% from three for the Nuggets. They were knocking down shots. You got to give them props. You know, Russ goes 3 or 4 from three against you. It's going to be one of those nights. But one thing I'm monitoring is they are 17th currently in offensive rating, and they scored 122 points last night. That's perfectly fine. But their offense hasn't been as great. It has not been as great as I think some of us were anticipating. I mean, they only had a 111 offensive rating last night, which is actually bad. That's a bad number. They go 16 of 40 from three, 40% from three. What I think I don't like currently, and I don't know if this is some early season stuff. They're trying to feel some stuff out. They're trying to, sort of change some things. So early in season, you overcompensate, and then you sort of adjust as the season goes on. But Shea, who 28 points, 10 of 19, did have 8 turnovers. I don't like how the way Shea's played offensively so far. I really don't. I don't. They're trying to get him some more threes. They're trying to increase that volume. And it has, in turn, led to way less mid-range attempts, where he's shooting like 60% to start this season on mid-range jumpers. But he's shooting way less of them. He's getting to the rim less. And his finishing numbers around the rim are much worse to start the season than they were last year. I don't know if that's a sign of things to come, or again, if this is just a early season, hey, let's just see if Shea can shoot 40% from three on 7 attempts this year. But we shall see. I'm not like concerned or anything like that. Chet had a rough one from the field, 5 of 14, 15 points. Jada played well, 29 points, 11 of 20 from the field. Damn near had a triple-double, 10 rebounds, 9 assists. Jada had a really good game last night, probably his best game of the season. I want to talk about Jada really quickly here, though. We're just talking about the Thunder, because usually when we talk about the Thunder on here, we're like, well, the Thunder blew this team out. It's time to move on. So a Thunder loss gives us a chance to sort of dive a little bit deeper into some of this stuff. J-Tub, yeah, people in my chat last night were calling him J-Tubs. That's not what I said. That's what people in my chat said. But I'm noticing something here, is that the lineups where Shea's off the court and J-Dub is on the court, they really, really struggle. A 103 offensive rating with those groups. And, that's like a J-Dub with some bench guys lineup. They like to stagger the lineups like that. I think part of that probably has to do with Caruso being terrible offensively so far to start this season. And that's something to monitor. Like, Jalen Williams, Alex Caruso on the court together. 88 minutes so far this season. They have a minus net rating. A negative net rating. Which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But it is true. Now, I'm interested, if we're just doing these numbers, how many of those minutes are J-Dub and Caruso by themselves with no Shea? 56 minutes in that group. Okay, this is what I expected. 56 minutes, again, super small sample size. But a minus 11 net rating with a 96 offensive rating. Those are things that you have to look at. Absolutely. We'll check back in on that. We'll check back in on that in a couple of months' time. But that's, we're looking at a team like the Thunder, who were 7-0 entering this game, who defensively look like one of the better defenses we've seen in quite some time, which is saying a lot, because the Timberwolves last year were one of the better defenses we've seen in quite some time. But the Thunder are playing at that level, if not better, to start the season without Hartenstein, who's going to make their defense better. We look at it and we're like, all right, what are some flaws? What are some things that maybe you can ignore because they're starting so well to start the season, but things that could come back to bite them in the ass? And, a guy like Caruso being a black hole on offense is definitely one of them. Absolutely. We saw that play out against the Mavs last year, where the Mavericks took advantage of some guys that they were comfortable living with, doing things offensively, like Josh Giddey, who by the end of the series was barely playing. But also, in a lot of ways, Chet Holmgren, who was so perimeter-oriented last season. And this year, so far to start the season, he's been more aggressive inside. But last year, especially in the playoffs, Chet was so clearly gassed by then that the Mavs were kind of okay with him shooting threes and stuff like that, and it worked. And the Mavs defense looked really good because of it. Hartenstein's going to be a connected playmaker in that bench lineup once he's healthy. Yeah, Hartenstein's going to unlock even more for this Thunder team. So I'm not using this game as a referendum on the Thunder at all. They're incredible, but we got to look at some of these things. Jokic had a great defensive stand on Shea late this game, forcing a backcourt violation. Jokic Defensive Player of the Year. A really impressive win for the Nuggets. It's just funny, man. Just funny they're 5-3 right now. I wonder what the line was for this game. Wow, the Thunder were 7.5-point favorites. That does make sense. No Jamal Murray, no Aaron Gordon. So a really impressive win for the Nuggets. 23, 20, and 16, man. Yeesh. Jokic is a hell of a player.